So house lights fading, let's jump in. First up is Joanne Webb. Joanne is a Galway-based mother, actor, director, family constellations facilitator, and proud member of MAM, Mothers, Artists, Makers. And her piece, as of yet untitled, seeks to examine prejudice. It started off as a desire to understand the world that her mixed-race son has been born into. Jo's going to perform a monologue, and then we're going to have a brief discussion about her work.
Thanks, Roisin. I'm going to take a breath. I'm feeling very nervous. You're welcome to take a breath with me. Zoom is not my natural home. I'm going to close my eyes. I really wish we were in the theatre now, in the McLally. You all in your seats and me on the stage, surrounded by those beautiful granite walls. If you haven't been in the McLally, it was an old tea storage house. And it's got these beautiful, rough-hewn granite walls all around it. I was in there in January, and it was cold and dark, and I was trying to figure out how to tell this fucking story, and I felt like the walls were closing in on me. I was leaning against that beautiful back wall, trying to draw strength from it, I guess. And I looked up and I saw, if you've ever seen it, there's a hook quite far up in the wall. And I was looking at this and I was trying to figure out what it reminded me of. And then suddenly I was back in Kenya, in the caves on the coast, in Shimoni. There's loads of steps down into them. And it's cold and dark. There's a little bit of sunlight coming in. And there was a guide with us, and he was telling us that this is where they used to bring the people to wait for the ships to come. And there's hooks all over the walls. And there's nail marks. And there's stumps of candles. Hundreds of years later, there's still stumps of candles. And he said that sometimes they'd time it wrong, and the high tide would come in and flood the cave. And the people, the slaves, would drown. And the children would drown first. And I'm wondering, is it better to drown in your own land, or is it better to go on a ship and be sold? And the sunlight's, it's glinting on my husband's beautiful skin. And I'm feeling shame, and I really want to run out of there. I want to run out of that cave. But the shame is slowing me down. It's making me walk. And I can feel my skin tightening around me, and it's so white. It's so white. And I breathe. I'm back in the McLally, in the theatre, and I can see my set now. It's a big table. There's a big table with loads of chairs, and there's a small table with a radio, and there's a bookshelf, and there's loads of different types of books, loads of them. Don't Touch My Hair, loads of different types, and there's a TV screen. And there's loads of food. I've cooked food for all of you. I love cooking, and I love to make people feel welcome. So I've made gluten-free and dairy-free, whatever you need. And yeah, it's really important for me to cater for everyone, for people to feel welcome. And And I'm thinking about my granny, because she used to feed half a limerick every night. I'm wondering what she would make of all the gluten-free stuff. I come from a long line of strong women, strong Irish mummies. And then I'm telling you about the people who don't see me as an Irish mummy because they don't see my son as being Irish. And then in the theatre, I show you some messages I got on social media on the TV screen. The first one is a picture, and it says, "When you're white, there's no upgrade. Don't mix." And then I show you another one from someone else, and it says, "When your son commits suicide, it'll be your fault for daring to have him in the first place." And then I show you the first one that I received about 9 years ago, which said, "You married a monkey. Your son is an aberration. What a pity, pretty girl like you. Debasing yourself like that." I don't know who sent me any of the tweets. I know the last one was a friend of a friend, but they generally hide behind profile pictures of Irish flags or cartoon characters with machine guns. So I've invited them this evening. I've invited them here. They're maybe sitting in the audience with you, but I can't tell. I've never seen their faces. So we're going to play a game. It's called Sniff Out the Racist. So Shiva's going to lock the doors, and two black men are going to come in on the stage, and they're going to go out into the audience and they're going to start sniffing. They're going to sniff out the racism. They sniff me. And I'm thinking about my granny. She didn't just feed people. My uncle came home from school one day, and he'd been given 52 slaps. Nobody knew what he did. That's been lost in family history, but he got 52 slaps, one for every week of the year. And he came home, and my granny put on her hat and her coat, and she got her umbrella, and she marched up the town, and she went to the school, and she called out the teacher, Lefty Kelly, and she beat him with the umbrella, and she told him if he ever touched one of her children again, that and he didn't. And I really wish that I could do the same. I really wish that but I can't. I don't know how to protect my son. How do I protect my son?
I'm going there to see my mother. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home. I'm just going over home.
Thanks, Joanne. That piece is obviously incredibly personal. How are you feeling after that performance?
I'm trying to start my video, sorry.
Technologically challenged. Just in the moment, I mean.
Just in the moment. I'm okay, yeah. Every time you do something, it's different, and sometimes it feels okay.
Good, good. Thanks for sharing it with us. You spoke about being in the Micklally Theatre and your